Hi there. According to the Mental Health Foundation, mental health issues are one of the main causes of the overall disease burden worldwide. It's estimated that at least 1 in 6 people in the last week experienced a common mental health problem. And it's not hard to see why, is it? Because we live in a society which barely pauses for breath. So many of us struggle with the pace of life, with a lack of peace, with a range of mental health issues. And I think it's true to say there's certainly a prevalence of extreme stress which many of us face daily, even which our children face. Do you ever pause to think, is this all there is? Could my life be different? Could it be that there's a dimension of existence which we just can't see or experience because of the way that we're living our lives? Yes, we may think, one day I'll slow down, or things will be better when. The problem is that one day and when always seems as far off as ever. At Connect at 4, we're going to be thinking about real life issues and about our overall well-being. And these next 3, we're going to be looking at things which, if we can get a handle on, they can really improve the quality of our lives. This week, we're going to be thinking about finding peace and quiet in the noise of life. Now, traditions which have engaged with silence, with quiet, tell us that having this space enables us to listen to our own selves. Our inner compass is something which is hard to find and can be drowned out by the noise of everyday life. Silence, quiet, can give us a little glimpse into who we really are. Now, men and women have practiced silence for millennia. Some would spend time in silence as a prayer. Meals are sometimes taken in silence in various places to experience something mystical in meeting together. Days or weeks spent in silent retreat, giving space for God, that spiritual voice echoing in the silence, all make a difference. Silence is a practice which can create a different and peaceful centre in each one of us. That might feel a little odd, but its idea is that we're just too full up, and that we benefit from making spaces which are empty and available. If you feel life can be too much, or if you feel your time and energy are just all used up, then you might find that silence helps you. Just think of all our rushing around. Do we ever have the space to notice, and I mean really notice things? Think of all the busy tasks filling our time. Do we ever have space to be rather than to do? Think of all the demands on us. Is there ever a moment when we can be available to ourselves, to others, even to God? Christians believe the life of Jesus can teach us a great deal, that in him is this deep, deep ancient wisdom. Here's just one example from the Bible, from one of the people who wrote about Jesus' life, Luke, and he wrote this about Jesus. The news spread about him all the more, so that crowds of people came to hear him, to be healed of their sicknesses. But Jesus often withdrew to a lonely place and prayed. Now, Jesus was a busy man. He was always in demand. Lots of people to help, lots of teaching to do. But he always, it seems, found time to get away by himself, to find some silence, to recharge, to seek strength for the next thing he needed to do. And we know too that for Jesus, the Old Testament, the Hebrew Scriptures, was something that he'd meditate on and that he'd know deeply. Let me just share with you a few well-known words from the Old Testament, which Jesus would have known well, words which leave us with an image that I'd like us all to try and take to heart. This is from Psalm 1. Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. So let's just try and get this into our mind's eye, this idea of a tree growing strong by the water, a peaceful place, drawing its strength from the life-giving water, roots going down deep, deliberately seeking out what it needs to be healthy, to grow, to be refreshed, to be exactly what it is supposed to be, bearing fruit. And I guess the question for us all, for all human beings, is this: where does our strength come from? Where do we seek that life-giving water, that refreshment that our souls, the very deepest parts of who we are, really need? Christians believe that we're all wired in such a way as we best find all these things in God himself. And in fact, the Christian faith is more than anything about a relationship with Jesus, God himself. Many of us have come to know that one of the best things that we can do for our well-being, for our mental, our emotional, and even aspects of our physical health, is to develop a habit of spending some time regularly in silence with God. Now, there are so many ways that we can do that. Some of them are available on the Community of Soul Friends website. Scan the QR code at the end of this video to go directly there. But for starters, let me just close this short video by guiding you through a simple method of finding some peace and quiet in the midst of a busy world. So here's a habit that you can work on. Try just a few minutes of silence a day for a week and see what happens. Perhaps even just a few minutes in the morning or in the evening. Here's one way to do it. Find a comfortable and peaceful place, maybe a room in your house or in your garden in the summertime, somewhere out in nature, maybe even a hidden spot at your workplace. Just take a few moments to settle yourself. Take some deep breaths and relax. Begin your time of silence. Don't worry if thoughts and ideas come into your mind or if you get distracted. Just be aware of what's come into your thoughts. Be thankful or ponder it, and then settle again. Finish these few minutes of silence with a few deep breaths and take a moment to be thankful. At the end of your time, you might like, some people do, some people don't, but you might like to jot down any thoughts. So look, why not stick with this for a few weeks? See if you can develop this kind of habit, a part of the rhythm of your life. And it's something which very naturally leads to prayer. All you need to do is build in a few simple prayers or prayer practices as part of this silent time. Again, look at the Community of Soul Friends website, the QR code. There are plenty of resources there, and also in the church buildings too. So look, may you find a way of developing a simple habit which works for you. May you find some peace and some quiet amongst all the noise and clamour of life. And may God himself bless you as you do so.